Hi, my name is Scott Joseph. I am here with Rachel Kearney. We are actually a part of, we are Where's My Light? We are now in self-quarantine. So this is our first video with ESR. We are interviewing Regina and Brian Spain. We are also Mike McCartan. We've got Brittany Bowman on the line here, and I think that's, and Marissa from Florida is with us, joining us. So what we're doing, we're trying to do this new type of social distancing for everybody. We are going to cover an interview for The Jungle Book.
Ooh.
So I guess, what inspired you? I know with the social distancing, what inspired you to do The Jungle Book?
Well, let's let Brian take that, because this actually the streaming, doing a streaming production was actually Brian's idea.
Regina looked really sad, and she needed something to do, and she missed all of her theater friends a whole bunch. And to be honest, she was driving me a little crazy. So we thought, hey, we can get everybody together and have a show.
The Jungle Book specifically. So first of all, there's very few scripts out there that you can get the streaming rights for. And so Brian, like, I mean, he scoured.
You know, it's amazing that, yeah, I went through the entire catalog of several of our production houses, and comparing now to when it started, there are a whole lot more things available live stream. So, but back then there wasn't much. Now they're adding new ones every day. It's kind of like
Cool.
Everybody's stuck at home.
Right, almost like that. So the Jungle Book, so we ordered probably, I think, 8 scripts and stuff, and went through scripts, and we settled on the Jungle Book because, number one, it was something that was fun, and we knew that our players could have a good time with it. We could do masks to interchange characters with this, using the same people, and also we work with a lot of teachers. And so one of the things that was really important to us was kind of connecting them. We know that they're struggling with connecting with their students. And so giving the teachers something fun that could transfer no matter what age group was important to us as well. And so we settled on the Jungle Book because it's great for all ages and it's a lot of fun.
And it's very nice for Regina to say that it was my idea, but it really, you know, that was kind of just a thought one night. If it hadn't been for everything that she's done and everything all of the actors are doing, I mean, that's really the hard work, and so it's pretty cool.
How big is the cast?
We have 16 involved in it, including Brian, which is our tech director and producer for it, myself, which is directing it, and kind of doing kind of the design work for it, and then and also adding a narrator piece for it, plus Brittany, which is our sign language translator.
I was also wondering, Regina and Brian, with doing it, how much, I know you just said you have masks, but how much of it are you incorporating, like sound and lights and props and different things like that?
Sound is every bit as full as we would for a show in the theater. In fact, it's probably a little bit more, to be honest. Wow. Lights, there's really not much.
So lighting, so we started talking last night in our rehearsal about a lot of those things. So lighting, because we're doing our rehearsals the same time as we are going to be performing it, I started telling people, okay, look at your lighting on your face, look at the lighting on everybody's face right now. So you need to tailor that, and we need to play with that at every single rehearsal, where you are and how the light is hitting you in that specific room. Can you do anything about it to make it better? Backdrops, things like that. Trying to get people in front of solid pieces so that we can do green screen behind them. Things like that. Costumes. We're doing pretty fairly basic, we think, because people have to change in between for their actual, you know, they're only going to see what you're seeing right now, basically. So as far as the chest and neck, and then we'll have masks. Now, some are going to be building their own. And then some are going to, like I've already shipped some local people. I can make them here and have a porch drop for them, type of thing. And then props was the fun part we started figuring out last night, because in a normal show, if you need bananas, you just get bananas for the one scene and that's it, right? So for here, every single person that holds a banana or that holds that pencil or that list or that net has to have a duplicate copy. And we have people from around the states, right? And so there is a prop that we have that is held by people up here in Port Huron, somebody in Detroit, as well as at least Marissa down in Florida. And so so you have a similar thing. And so how one person hands something off and another person gets it from theirs, we started working that out last night. So that was kind of fun.
Demonstrate here. See, look at the magic.
We had one actor that kind of gets bananas thrown at them, that offered that her little brother will be very happy to just throw bananas at her from off screen. So.
Nice.
Well, can you tell us a little bit too about how there are people from other states? You guys are all tuning in and connecting this way.
Sure, let's throw that to Marissa, since she's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Regina and Brian's daughter. So I've been a part of ESR from the beginning, and I moved to Florida last year to attend graduate school. So I haven't been able to be active in the theater, obviously, because I'm 1,000 miles away. But I don't want to say lucky for me, but with this situation, we're able to do something that I can participate in. So we have another ESR member who moved to California in 2017 who's participating. I'm sure some of the people are scattered around the country, but yeah, it's fun.
CJ's in Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Did not know that. So, Mike, your character here is it Price and Aquila?
That's right.
So tell me, how have you done your process? Have you obviously when you are reading the script of two different people, how did you decide and how did you work on coming up with different voices or different characteristics of your character? Because this is kind of a new thing for everybody with us doing the performances online.
Yeah, I would honestly say, I'm just at the beginning of it. Typically I try to get somebody in my head that I think sounds like the character. So, one is a headmaster at a British school. So, whether it's Michael Caine or whatever, one of those type of guys. The other is the old wolf, emphasis here on old, because that seems to have been my trademark in the last number of years. I am either dead or old. So the old part is easy. What has been a challenge is my howl. And so my studio for my howl has been my car, because I've been pretty much banned from everywhere else for howling. So that the voice of the old wolf has begun to sound to me like Tonto in The Lone Ranger, which I'm not sure is a great sound. So it's a work in progress.
Good.
So those characters aren't in the original movie, are they? Like the headmaster? I don't remember that.
So this is this version of the Jungle Book is actually, I think it's really cool, because what it is, so it's not specifically the Disney version that you see. It is, because it's not the Disney Jungle Book. What it is it actually follows Kipling, which is the author and of the Jungle Book, and it basically it is the idea behind when Kipling wrote these stories, because the Jungle Book itself, the novel itself, is actually a collection of stories. And so this is this goes back to his childhood, where, because he grew up in India, but then was he's English, but grew up in India, and then but then was at a boarding school back in England again, and was getting picked on. And so this kind of shows his thought process. So like everybody at the boarding school has a counterpart that becomes part of the story. So like he takes the headmaster that is kind of like a father figure to him and makes it the father figure of Keela. He takes the chaplain Willies that is kind of a protector for him and creates Bagheera. His teacher Crofts becomes Baloo. And then the two school bullies, Fielding and Hanley, that are bullying him, become Shere Khan and not Tequila. Oh my goodness.
Baki.
Tabaki, thank you. My brain.
Tequila,
and-
okay.
A lot of us are there in quarantine, don't worry.
Yes. So and Tabaki, they become the two that within the Jungle Book then. So Tabaki is somebody that's in Mowgli's Brothers, which is the story that he is writing at school, and that's the story that's kind of told throughout in this version of the Jungle Book. So yeah, so there's some characters that you won't necessarily know unless you know the actual stories within the Jungle Book itself, within the novel. So
Yeah, there's a few lines at the end where they actually kind of throw some shout out to the other books in the series.
Yes.
I can't remember what they were. The one about the.
well, Mowgli's Brothers, and which is the one that he's writing here. So and then some of the other ones.
Muskrat and the Cobra or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah.
Now, Rachel, you have any?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask Brittany because you are signing the show, which is kind of a big undertaking, honestly. You know, you're,
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing it for every character. So how has that experience been? And have you done anything like this before?
So the closest I've ever done anything like this is so I've grown up knowing sign language, so I'm a coda. So technically, yes, it is my first language, but obviously there's a lot more to a language than just using it in your home. And so I'm not certified as an interpreter. That's why I'm not like going to be signing now or for anything like this that's going up, just because I can't. But I can put the time in to go and try to put a show together in a way that I could make it so my mom can see and so her friends can see. And there's a lot more deaf students coming into the area. They're integrating students into the schools and stuff. It's really important for them to feel involved in the community. So
Yeah, it's a great way to communicate with everyone. And I kind of like that it's, you know, people are relying more on their voice for this probably than the sight, because it's not the whole theater, that kind of thing. But then you're also making sure it's more than that too. It is the visual. So
sign language honestly really is. My mom still goes to like shows and stuff, even though there's not an interpreter supplied, just because, I mean, you can get a lot out of body language. That's sign language is mainly like using a lot of facial expressions and body language and stuff like that. So it goes together nicely.
So Brittany, you are going to go. You're going to school though. You will be going to school.
Yes, I'm going to be starting in the fall, hopefully. It's been taking some time to try and figure out, like, honestly, just getting to schools. There's not enough in the area for that type of thing, but hopefully that'll change.
Oh, good. And so, you've had any challenges though going through the script? Have you encountered?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like, it is a whole nother, like, it's another language. It's not, there's not specific signs to every word and everything. So I'm finding I think my most difficult areas are going back and forth in between being in the Jungle Book and being in the story. And then when you go back out into where he's talking to like his professor and stuff. And it's like, it's not like a huge problem. I'll be able to like throw it together for the most part. But I don't know. It's hard.
Well, it
Oh,
does
okay.
give you some challenges for sure.
Oh, good.
Same
Thank
as
you.
if you had a part in the show. I mean, like the single
Mhm.
part, you would still have things you'd have to figure out. So yeah.
Yeah.
When we make that narration transition, there's going to be transition music that and Brittany, maybe I can get that to you. I don't know how you could interpret that, but that's how we're going to, one of the ways we're going to kind of divide those. So
Not like lyric in it. It wouldn't be something I'd have to transition or have to interpret, but it probably will give me a little bit of time to kind of make sure they know what's going on.
And catch up. So all of this is so new. These are things that we haven't done before, and I have to say that during rehearsals, a lot of times when I'm able to watch the screen and everything, and watch everybody, I find myself watching Brittany a lot, and it's really intriguing, and I just love that aspect, that new aspect of what we're doing, and I think that being able to connect to an entire community that doesn't typically get to connect to a lot of things like a theater production, I think is exciting, and I'm very excited at the potential of using this not just during quarantine, but once we get back out into the theater and everything, being able to host this same thought. And this is a great test of how this will work for a production and what is needed, because it's not like, oh, you just hire an interpreter for one day and they come in and they are with your audience and they do a show. It would have to be so much more involved than that
Oh, for
be
sure.
able to. And Brittany's
To be
doing
able to go through and
yeah, exactly. And Brittany's doing an amazing, amazing job. So I'm really excited for it.
Thank you.
And Marissa, same kind of question I was asking Mike. I know you're playing Fielding and then Shere Khan. How have you worked on your character?
So after our first rehearsal the other day, I went and I watched the Disney Jungle Book movie, because I was wondering, Shere Khan is traditionally played by a man, probably an older man. I am a 23-year-old woman, not exactly typecast for this role. So I was thinking about, how should I play it, like I've been watching lots of classic Disney movies, so like a Cruella de Vil type character, or like more of a femme fatale type vibe. And I was trying to figure out, like, how do I get that like power and like evilness in my voice. I don't think I've ever been cast to play an evil character before.
I was wondering about that, if this was the first one.
Yeah, I really can't recall. I don't think I've ever played a villain before, so it's definitely new territory for me. So I am working on getting like the power behind my voice and figuring out, like, they say several times throughout the script that Shere Khan is afraid of, hates what she's afraid of. She's afraid of humans and fire. So kind of putting that underlying bit of insecurity in my reasons for being so evil. It's a work in progress. It's been kind of difficult, but we'll get there.
I'll let you know, playing evil characters is fun.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not something I've ever done before.
Oddly enough, it's all your mother gets cast as.
I know I'm pretty typecast too when it comes to evil characters though, so which I don't care because I love your evil characters, right?
There's a
Yeah,
freedom to it.
I don't know how
Yeah,
well I
but there's
do,
more,
like,
to me as an actor too, is there's more to it developing a villain than sometimes a good character, because there's more, how did they become evil? What made them evil? And things like that. I mean, it's much more fun to me, at least. So
More layered, yeah.
yeah.
yeah, this is
I mean, some people will probably disagree, but
this is definitely, I think a more simple script. I think it is meant for children. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to make up the depths of the character. I was looking through my lines, and most of them are just like, "The child is mine. Let me eat it," kind of thing.
You could take inspiration from the tigers at the zoo. You go do some observations and.
I can't. They won't let me in.
Mo is getting her master's, and so her fellowship and everything is at the zoo. She's getting down in Jacksonville, and last night we got a whole dissertation about animals and what is incorrect about scripts and gender associations with the animals in our
I
script.
won't go into it.
Oh.
Most of the social groupings depicted in Disney movies, if they were doing it accurately, would actually be matriarchal rather than patriarchal societies, but we don't have to go into it. But you know,
Oh, I mean, any questions you have, Rachel?
I don't think so. Nothing else I can think of.
I don't want to hog the spot. I don't want to hog everything. I mean, this is, so, well, good. I mean, so when is this playing and how are they going to be able to get this?
So it is a one-time deal. We have the streaming rights to it. We do not have the recording rights to it. So we can't record it and then put it out, as well as we can't record it the night we do it. So it's important that it's a one-time thing. It is 7 p.m. Saturday, 7 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, because we
Yeah.
do have people on the West Coast. So 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Saturday, May 9th. So it's the night before Mother's Day. It's our regular time that we do shows. So we'll be doing it through Zoom. So it'll look a lot like this, except for with character and everything. And and it'll be on YouTube. So it'll be on our YouTube channel that you'll be able to link to through our website, enterstageright.org.
And we went with YouTube instead of Facebook just to make it a little more accessible to everyone. So you don't have to be signed up to Facebook to join.
Mm-hmm.
Will we also post a link on our Facebook page?
Yes, Facebook, Instagram, and our website.
And we'll probably also email it out to our mailing list as well.
Yes.
Because that would be bad if we got all these people interested and then nobody could figure out how to find it. Bad.
Is there anything you want the audience, like fans of ESR, to know about the state of things with after quarantine is done, when we're picking our shows back up, or anything like that?
Sure. So this one, what we're doing here, it's being completely underwritten by us, so we're not charging anything for this streaming event. We want to, it's more about the community. It's more, our actors, our artists are all doing this with no pay, which is unusual for Interstage Right. So they are all volunteers for this one, which is so fabulous. There is going to be a donation button, so that people can please donate if they have the means right now. If not, that is perfectly fine. It really is for the community. And then after this, so obviously things depend on how things open up. We are already putting things in place with the idea that when they say go, you're allowed. We're not just opened up as usual. We anticipate being at about half as far as audience goes. We just this week spent our grant money that we got late last year for some new staging. We got it, and it just didn't get spent because we were so busy over the holidays. It didn't get spent. I'm very glad now because we spent it differently than we would have, because we spent it with the idea of what we will need to be able to facilitate safety for our audience and everything once we're able to reopen. So we're going to be able to raise our stage and have our audience on the floor, but still everybody be able to see it. Typically our audience is on risers, and this way we can spread out the audience so each party of people are in kind of pods with space between them to distance. So once we reopen, we're hoping that in July we'll be able to, because we had to cancel April through July shows, we had to cancel 4 shows, postpone 4 shows to 2021. And so July right now is open, and we're hoping to be able to do some pop-up events with our local Blue Water Fest not getting the funding right now. They don't think they're going to have stages. So we're hoping to be able to have a limited audience, but open up our stages for our local bands and things, to do some things during Boat Week because the race is still happening at this point. Things like that. We're hoping to do some pop-ups in July. But August, we are anticipating running our Shakespeare, as we have in every August, our annual Shakespeare, which is going to be The Tragedy of King Lear. And so we're anticipating opening that up. And again, to probably a capped off seating so that we won't be filling houses per se. There won't be 100 people in there. So we've got that, and we've got Our Town in September. We've got weddings and things like that starting to go once August hits. So we're hoping that all those happen, and hopefully if people quarantine correctly and everything goes well, hopefully there won't be a massive second spike. And once we get going a little bit again, hopefully it can keep going, and people can stay healthy, which is our number one concern. So, because we'll do whatever the CDC says.
Well, and when we get there, it'll be a learning process, because there's the rules and regulations that'll be set out by the state and the CDC, but then there's the reality of how are people really going to feel about coming out to a show. I mean, I know, so we'll be talking to people as they come in the door, and taking all the suggestions in mind, just like as we have with everything else, the shows that we do, and what can we do to improve the theater. We're going back to the questions at the door. I'm going to be asking questions at the door again. So just to try to figure out what'll make people feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's more live stream shows. Maybe we start doing a combo. We just do shows that can do both in person and live stream, and we start doing both. Who knows?
If it's a situation where we can do where it's something that our players are safe getting together, and we're able to stage, and some people, but we have to cap audience, and those that are comfortable coming out in that environment where they're separate but there, we can do that, but focus on scripts maybe that also have streaming rights, so that one of the performances would be live streamed, but we'd be on our feet and not necessarily on Zoom.
I'm going to propose that we do The Martian and everybody's in spacesuits.
Even the guests.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, thank you guys for doing the show. It gives people their theater fix, which is very nice. And, it's something new for ESR, so it shows you guys can change and go with the flow. And we just appreciate it. I'm sure it's going to be a unique experience, and we haven't seen it, at least I haven't in town or anything like that. So
thank you. Yeah, we're excited.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on our first podcast / video conferencing of Where's My Light. We will probably post this as soon as we can so everybody can watch it. Thank you, everyone.
thanks.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.